Hey guys, in today's video we're going to be checking out the new Diamond Select Toys Ghostbusters Series 7. This is Janosz Poha. Just how tall is Janosz? Well, let's go ahead and grab the tape measure. The figure stands at approximately 6.5 inches in height. Now, anybody collecting the Ghostbusters Select figures know that there's two types, and really a lot of the Diamond Select figures come in two types. One being the comic book store releases that actually come with a couple of other accessories, and then there's the retail releases, which are basically more a scaled down version that has a whole lot less. With the Ghostbusters Select, if you get the comic book store releases of these, then you get the component pieces in this instance to build the firehouse. The firehouse components are being, not really sure what this component is. I guess it's the underside, I guess the under bottom area of the, oh actually you know what, I'm wondering if it maybe goes like this. And this is the top area of the door. Not quite certain, but nonetheless it does come with, one of the components comes with Janosz. The other one being the Ghostbusters sign. Now I didn't get a chance to get the Vigo as the comic book store release. I ended up getting the retail release of him, but I'm thinking, I did believe that he actually came with the Ghostbusters 2 version of the Ghostbusters sign. I prefer myself the Ghostbusters 1 logo, as the firehouse entranceway, but it's nice that they gave you two different versions. The chains are plastic. The sign feels pretty stable in place. This makes me really regret the fact that I did get some of the figures already as retail releases, that I won't have the option to build the firehouse unless I go back. I hate to think that I'm going to buy the figures again, or I can maybe find the component pieces on eBay. Or maybe I can ultimately just buy the firehouse from maybe a seller on eBay who's already taken the liberty of building the entire house, so I might even go that route. This does actually look quite good, and very, very nice three-dimensional representation of the Ghostbusters ghost logo. Moving that to the side as well. And then, I guess excluding Oscar and some additional hands, one thing that he comes with pleasantly is the picture of Vigo, which I thought should have really come with Vigo until somebody had indicated that Janosz was going to be coming included with the portrait of him. And you can see it's a lenticular image. So in some glances to the side, you can see that Vigo is not there. Then all of a sudden he appears, then he's gone again. I still think that the figures should have come, both Janosz and Vigo should have still came with the portrait. Maybe for Vigo, he could have had this portrait, as it would have had the disappearing and reappearing Vigo in the portrait. Then Janosz could have actually come with a variation of this, which would have had the River of Slime underneath, and I think that could have worked quite well also. Just to also show you, we'll bring in the subject of the painting. There's Vigo right there. And I have to say, it does complete the set now rather nicely in the fact that you do get the portrait. The portrait is slightly, I don't even want to say lackluster, because I love that it's lenticular. I think part of me almost would have favored a non-lenticular front, so it would have just always had this image, and hopefully the images of Vigo here that you guys are looking at, it would just always look like this. I also wish that it wasn't cardboard. The NECA release of Black and White Freddy, or I think, yeah, Skateboard Freddy, also came with a cardboard cutout of the character that he battles, and it ultimately shreds up. I feel the same way as I do here. Even if the painting is of a paper variety, which really ultimately it isn't, it's more of a canvas, I wish that they had gone the route of not making it cardboard, though. The longevity of this being, you know, not damaged. Also to the fact, too, that when you are getting it out of packaging, it comes like this. And then you fold the back down like so, and it just stands upright. Hear me out. I think what I would have preferred instead is if they had made this just looking like this, not lenticular, so just regular Vigo, making it look like a painting. I would have made it slightly thicker, and I probably would have also put it on the wheelbase that they have when they originally wheel Vigo out, so that it could stand on that. As it goes now, it's not terrible, but I feel like it could have been ultimately a lot better, you know, just if they had made it even within a plastic frame, or if they had adhered this to a plastic back, and then if they had had it on a rolling cart or something, instead of just having it look like a, you know, a cardboard standee. Anyways, we'll move that to the side. I don't really want to negatively, I mean, I appreciate the fact that we do get a Vigo portrait, but there's ultimately always room for improvement, and I feel there might be some room for improvement when it comes to that. Interestingly enough, though, when it comes to Janosz, she also comes with a series of flat hands. Now, these flat hands are not for him. They're specifically for Vigo. A nice little add-on kit if you had already picked up the Vigo figure. So you can go ahead and put those into his hands, or rather into the sockets of his arms. Do that with the other hand. Place that out. There we go. It's not in all the way. There we go. And you can actually have slightly, there we go. There we go. You can actually have Vigo holding little Oscar. And you can have him like looking down on him like so creepily he does in the movie. But you can actually have him holding Oscar. Ultimately, they could have really just given these hands to Vigo to start with, but it's kind of a nice little added bonus if you've been collecting them, that some of the accessories from one figure would carry them their way over to other figures that you had already picked up. So I really like that. I'm going to go ahead and keep Vigo in the frame here, because I really do like this figure a lot. They really could give us a couple of variations of Vigo as well, with that slightly kind of witch face that he gets later into the movie. A couple of different variations. Let's look at Oscar. Named after a hot dog, you poor, poor man, you poor, poor man. Oh, little Oscar. Not bad. I don't really know what's happened here. It looks like they tried to do like a dry brushing over top of his yellow, but ultimately it kind of looks like he's an old toy that you found in a chest somewhere, and like the paint's been worn off. I don't know if I would say it necessarily works here, in all honesty. I would maybe not necessarily this color. Maybe it's the color that's doing it for me. If his jumpsuit, his little baby suit here, is yellow, I don't know if I would have gone the route of giving it almost a blue wash over top of it, like a dry brush blue. I probably would have given him like maybe like an orange or a very dark yellow as the color choice. I don't know if I would give it this. This takes away from the little baby figure, because it actually looks more like it's paint removed off rather than something that they intentionally put on. Face sculpt is passable for a little tiny Oscar. I hope they certainly continue more Ghostbuster 2 figures, maybe another Dana. And most definitely, I'd love to have the very creepy Janosz that is flying the sky with the, you know, the bicycle, stroller carriage. I think that would be kind of cool as well. Ultimately, maybe we might get that. As a joke, you could also package the other twin baby, because that's the rules of Hollywood. They had to use identical twins. Maybe you could package the other twin with one of the other figures. I don't know. Articulation, though, Oscar does get some. His head rotates all the way around. Hinged shoulders, nothing in the hands, and nothing in the rest of his little baby body. There's the little tiny Oscar. Janine and Lewis would also be very fun too when they're babysitting night. Anyways, let's move the figures out of the way. We're getting off topic here talking about Janosz. I still want to know what this is. I'm like looking at the image here. Let me actually bring the box in here. Put that right there. Here's the box. Here's the again, it's the base. I'm not certain what this is. Unless it maybe stands at the back. I don't really know. Or, and I don't think this be the case. I'm going to put that right there. The other option I would have thought is maybe it's for holding up, and that can't really be the case because it's on an angle. But, you know, that would be, no, that's not going to work. So we'll just move that. We'll just move that out of the way. I'll have to look into it. I really don't know what that piece is for. It must be something on the firehouse. I just don't know what it is. Anyways, 10 minutes into the video, let's have a look at, finally, Janosz. It's nice to get him in figure form here. And I have to say, actually, his head sculpt is really good. Hello, Dana. Oh, Janosz. I like the character in the movie. It would be neat, actually, if they had come giving him the alternate head sculpt where he had the glowing eyes as he was looking down the hallway. Oh, that's creepy, too. But the head sculpt is actually pretty good. Slightly uncomforting sort of smile on his face. Very awkward. He's got a long trench coat of a softer plastic, and underneath that, shirt with tie, gray slacks, and black shoes. Let's not also forget he's also got a black belt in there. Generally, he's one of those figures that, unless you're picking him up specifically because you like Ghostbusters, he doesn't have the most interesting of outfits because it's so rooted in real world. It's just some guy wearing a shirt and tie, pants, and a jacket. So I would think for non-Ghostbusters fan, you're probably not going to be picking up this guy. But I think there is some appeal to be said for the fact that you can fill in, and for the fact that Diamond Select is giving us as many figures as they are, above and beyond just giving us Ghostbusters. You know, as many people would love Ghostbuster figures, that's, I think, one of the telltale problems that Mattel did so wrong when they had the Ghostbusters line. They just ultimately kept giving us Ghostbusters, which is fine, but there's other characters there as well. And that's where Diamond Select is really picking up the reins and running it with it, and giving us someone like Janosz here. So, very nice clean paint on his face. Very little in the way of imperfections. I say that as I point out the one little notch on his face. Could be a blemish. I'm just going to chalk it up to that. The hair has a slightly weird sort of additional gray that's been added to it. But I guess from overall look of it, especially from a distance, it doesn't look as bad as I think it does up close. Everything else generally is pretty clean on him. Again, you've got the jacket, very, very soft plastic. I suppose theoretically you could take it off, but why would you want to? One thing I wish companies would do a little bit more, though, of, you clearly have no intentions of likely taking the jacket off, obviously because the sleeves are black. Make no sense whatsoever. If you move the jacket away, what they almost should have done is they should have colored the shoulder areas. Not all the way in, because obviously if you move the jacket you would then see it, but maybe even just by ½ an inch inward and paint the outer ends of it. The reason why I say that is obviously you see a big noticeable gap where his jacket is, but then you also see the additional gray of the shirt that's inside the jacket or in the interior underneath the jacket here. Again, a little small thing, nothing overly, it's not going to lose sleep over it, but just if I can point out little things about the particular figure that I would change. Janosz has such a small list of things I would change to him. At the very least, I would say just change and paint in that additional gray to make it more black, so that from the side you don't see the gray as much. Articulation on this guy, his head rotates all the way around. Shoulders hinge outward. Get a rotation all the way around. Swivel at the bicep. He gets a hinge in the elbow and a rotation in the hand. He gets the upper torso ball joint, lower torso waist swivel. Split cut on the thigh, which also allows the legs to move forward and back. He has a swivel cut in the top portion of the thigh. Double hinge on the knee. And then not only do you have the foot that allows you to rotate it all the way around, but he has also a very nice little ankle pivot. Just in case you are wondering as well, he's got peg holes on the undersides of his feet. In all honesty, though, I don't find the figure has any problems really standing, so that's good as well. I checked the instructions for how to put together the firehouse. Still can't find that piece that comes included with Janosz. To this day, to this moment of in final looks, I don't know what that piece is supposed to be for, but I'm sure it belongs to the firehouse and less to the picture. Let's talk a little bit about the picture for a second. While I do think Janosz is a solid release from the folks at Diamond Select, I feel there's slight shortcomings to what we ultimately get with the Vigo painting. Having it standing up just via something you would see at like a portrait or picture studio store is okay and passable, but I really think that they should have just given him a more of a frame that the picture stands in, and more importantly, put him actually on a cart or something that you could have him sitting or standing upright on the floor. This is acceptable, but I really think for what we ultimately get with a Vigo painting, I think this could have been a lot better. This doesn't necessarily detract from Janosz himself. I think he turned out good, but I really wish, if anything, the painting could have been a lot better executed than what we ultimately get here. As a side note, it's nice that we got some extra hands that you can use for Vigo, and it makes me think yet again I should just stick to buying the comic book store releases of these guys and not get the retail releases, because now ultimately I kick myself that I'm not going to be able to build the firehouse, and probably should have thought about that before I got the other figures. At any rate, today's video, currently being blocked off. There he is right there. Okay. Today's video, we were having a look at the new Diamond Select. This was Ghostbusters Select Series 7, and today we were having a look at Janosz Poha. Came included with a slightly lackluster Vigo, the Carpathian. Should have been a lot better. Anyways, if you guys haven't had a chance to hit that little subscribe button down below, make sure you do so. If you also want to go back and have a look at some of my other Ghostbuster reviews, I've got a playlist on this channel that you can check out and watch those specific videos at your viewing pleasure. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. I'll see you guys next time.